All right, I'm 365 Days of Horsemanship, day 353. Quite an interesting day today, actually. I came up, I'm definitely feeling that like kind of autumn slowdown, you know, where it's just like I feel like half my body is like ready for hibernation. And it's something that I think I've really felt from the horses too. I feel like there's this real air of everybody like getting prepared for the winter and like getting prepared for the cold weather and, you know, a little bit more discomfort in life, because ultimately, you know, autumn and winter is kind of less comfortable, really. Like obviously in the summer there's the flies and the heat and stuff, but like, you know, on average, you know, your average day is a little bit more relaxing and comfortable than it is in the autumn and winter. So yeah, so I came up today to grab Mia and just ride. My plan is tomorrow it's going to be super rainy. It was just kind of drizzly a bit today. Tomorrow is going to be super rainy. So my plan is to hopefully bring her up and do her plats. My sort of backup, I think, to that is potentially there might be a horse in on the yard, in which case I'll take her undercover somewhere else and do her plats there. And so yeah, so today I just kind of wanted to like get back in the rhythm of the riding. And yeah, it was really interesting, actually. Catching was interesting. I found I was putting more physical pressure than I wanted to, like asking her to lift her head up for the haltering. So I started playing with driving her until she stopped eating, basically. And it was a really interesting change, because in the past I've been like driving her with the intention of being like, I want you to like pay attention to me so that I can halter you. Whereas today it was much more like, I want you to change your focus. So like the purpose of the pressure I felt was much more like Mia centric. Like I really just focused on keeping my timing about the focus change. So it's like, I don't care if you're thinking about me, or if you're thinking about the environment, or if you're thinking about the herd, or if you're thinking about the halter, or if you're thinking about yourself or what you're learning or whatever. You can think about anything you want, just not eating. Like, let's think about something else except for eating. And that was really interesting, because like repeating that a few times just kind of like using a little bit of dominant leadership and pressure to encourage focus changes and to encourage curiosity and to encourage like category changes and a little bit more balance was a really effective way to use pressure to help her feel better. And then once she was feeling better and she was more like alert and like less kind of like deeply focused on the grass, then I was able to halter her using a much more reasonable amount of pressure, without having to kind of revert to this game that we're kind of playing of like, think about anything else, think about anything else, think about anything else. And so I was really happy with that. Brought her up and saddled and brought her into the arena. And I could feel that like the whole time there was just this kind of like rebellious spirit about her today, where she just felt really kind of just like there was some reluctance or some disagreement with my plan. And I was just kind of like mooching through it. And then at the moment where she made the different suggestion, I actually, reflecting on it now, I realized that I could have seen it sooner, and my goal is next time to see it sooner and to offer her an opportunity to make a counter offer. Because what ended up happening was we did some walking around, we did some like, you know, looking at stuff. I did her girth up, and then I went to go and bridle her. And once I took the lead rope off the halter, the whole time she was kind of like a bit fidgety, like it wasn't smooth and relaxed, and we weren't like on the same page like we normally are. Like it wasn't super confrontational or like argumentative, but there was just that little bit of fidgeting. And I think that's the moment where I think it would have been better for me to take the lead rope off and see if she stayed. And I think that's something that I'm going to introduce as being like, that moment there is like the door being open, where it's like, if you want to leave, if you want to do something else, then now is the opportunity for you to go, and that's okay, and we'll do something else. Because what happened is I think had I have done that and given her that moment, she'd have been like, see ya. And instead I like put the bridle on straight away, or put the reins on straight away, and she started walking away, and I was kind of like, huh. And I used like a little bit of a feel on the reins, but she's still walking, and I kind of made this split-second decision to be like, I'm going to unclip the reins, so that they just slide right out instead of her like pulling them away from me. Obviously there's the safety risk of me like, you know, of her trotting away with the bridle around her legs and stuff like that. And then there's also like the idea that like potentially, you know, I don't want her to feel like she can pull away from that pressure. She's already kind of psychologically doing that. But once she started doing it, actually the best thing for me to do is kind of like quit while I'm ahead and be like, oh yeah, that's a great idea, let's do that, rather than like trying to argue with her about it or trying to be like, you need to come back, potentially risking the fact that if she really decides she wants to go, she's just going to leave, and then it's going to be a way worse situation. So she went off, and then we had the most amazing Liberty session together actually, and that really made me feel like, this is really interesting. I really want to give her that option in the future now, is just to kind of be like, hey, how do you feel? Do you want to ride, or do you want to do something else, you know? Because yeah, like she had a lot more passion for the Liberty. We did some work on, we started in walk, and we did some work on some of the stuff that Kaylee had given us from Braveheart Beasts, and practiced our like corner turns, and then practiced like the beginnings of circling. And that was going really nicely. We had some yawning, some licking and chewing. So then I started working on relaxation in the trot at like a medium distance, like a stick to me at a medium distance. And that went really nicely, and I was able to really hold, like she was really willing to like be there on the circle, like pretty much, and it felt almost as solid as it would online. Like I really didn't feel her like thinking about leaving, and that was really cool. So we did that both reins, like worked on the trot on both reins, just waiting for the ears with her. Like she often will trot around like with her ears back, and so like the beginning piece that I'm looking for with her is just that outside ear to flick forward. Like that's the key moment that I'm trying to like catch, just that moment where she just thinks about something else that's not how annoyed she is that she's trotting around. Because when she's got her ears like this, it's like she's in this like very negative self-focus, and then just that ear coming forward, it's just like that attention on something else is like, that's the moment I want her to remember. Like I want her to feel like that trotting happens until she feels better about it. Like she always feels better at the end of trotting than she feels at the start, because when at the start she's always like and then just to have that like moment where she feels a little bit better, or she's a little distracted, or she's not as focused on how bad she feels, that's where I want the ending to be. So yeah, so that went really nicely. And then I thought, hey, you know, let's push ourselves, let's push the boundaries, and let's see if we've got canter, because we've never really had like a decent or reasonable calm canter at Liberty on a circle. So I sent her out on her easy rein on the left, and I asked for the canter, and we had a beautiful like 3 or 4 strides of canter. Like we didn't have any bucking or tail swishing or anything. Like we had a little bit in the build up to the transition, but like it was really solid. Like it was really, really solid, and I called her in, and I felt like I managed to call her in before she fell out of the canter. And it was just really nice. She had a lovely big lick and a chew and a yawn, and it just like felt really great. Like I really just felt good about it. And yeah, I feel really pleased that we were able to have that session. I finished it there, which I was proud of myself for, because obviously my ego and my inner wild that I'm trying to tame all the time was saying like, oh my God, now do it on the other side and see if it's good on the other side. But then, you know, I'm sitting there, I'm resting, she's thinking, I'm thinking, and I'm like, you know, we would be really lucky to have that other way around and also have a yawn and a lick and a chew. Like most likely, even if she feels better after doing it on the difficult side, she's not going to feel as good as she feels right now. And so therefore, now is the time to quit. Like if you feel like the next thing that you're going to do, you want it to be the last thing, but you don't feel like they're going to feel better than they feel right now, it's probably not the thing. So yeah, that was really good. And then I just wanted to kind of like, for my own, I think, reassurance and feeling like that I wasn't putting bad patterns into her, I then just asked her to bridle before we left. So I just asked her to pop the bridle on, And basically, as soon as she had the bridle on, I just took it straight back off again, just to feel like that she wasn't going to try and pull away again, and that like bridling didn't become associated with that. That didn't become a thing that we did, because obviously that's definitely not something I want her to do. And that went really well. That went fine. And then, yeah, took her back to the herd. Really, really happy with the session. I feel really proud of myself that I took her counter offer. I feel like I learned a lot. I feel like it's something else that I'm going to now add to our sessions based on that, is just like giving her that little window of opportunity, because I think that the session, I didn't really know what I was going to do on board. Like, the poles have changed again in the arena. There's like 4 set out on like kind of a 20-meter circle in the middle of the school. And so I was kind of, I didn't really have a pattern in mind, and I was a bit like loosey-goosey about it. And so I wasn't really sure how I felt about that. And I think the session that we had, like with Mia really bringing her ideas to the table and me just kind of following her flow a little bit more and just seeing like what she was offering. Because in the end, it was Mia actually who put herself kind of on the pattern with the poles, and we were on this kind of 20-meter circle that was going really nicely. And I was like, wow. I feel like that session was so much more fulfilling for both of us. And so, yeah, so I really want to continue to like give us both opportunities to choose the most interesting session. So yeah, so that was really good. I went to see Lawrence, and he didn't come up to me on arrival, which is absolutely fine, because it gave me an opportunity to get right back to my basics and start practicing walking into a category change, which I did for maybe like 15 minutes before I got the first one. And I was happy with that. Did a little bit of flow, started to sense that the flow was getting more difficult, so I started walking again. I considered leaving after the first one, but I felt like I might have another one in me, and then 2 is really good, you know, like that repetition. It got a little bit interrupted because a lot of things started going on, and there was a horse in the field who was having a little bit of difficulty getting up, and so I was kind of distracted by that, because I was like trying to watch what was going on with that other horse and kind of a bit worried about it. And then I looked up at the yard, and there was some other drama going on with another horse. Like, it was all going on tonight, and so I got super distracted by all of that. And in the end, Lawrence actually came up to me and was like, hey, and I gave him like a little scratch on his head, and then basically just left, because by then I had like a bazillion other things that I felt like I needed to do for all these other horses. So it wasn't quite the like neat, like T's crossed, I's dotted ending that I would have like ideally wanted. But I feel really positive about the fact that, like, you know, I came to him, that's the energy that he offered me, and I didn't try to change that. I didn't try to like push into his space and like kind of like support him into this focus change with like being like, oh my God, like I need you to do this now and this now. I just like, yeah, cool. I can walk as long as, like, I'll just walk. If I walk for half an hour, that's fine. And then I'll just get one focus change and then I'll leave. Like, just really chill, like really happy to just like join him, meet him where he is on his own freedom-based training journey, and be like, yeah, that's cool. We can train curiosity today. No problem. And so, yeah, so that felt really good. And I'm definitely looking forward to spending some more time on that over the winter, and feeling really just positive about understanding that, like, if I commit to that over the winter, even if I don't really get anything else done, I'm going to come into the spring with such a great foundation to move forward with. And that's really exciting. So yeah, so I feel really happy with that. Excited about that journey, and yeah, it was a really good day.